Listen, I told him, don't be so tough so early in the morning. I'm sure you've cut plenty of people's throats. I haven't even had my coffee yet. After docking his boat and entering a cafe in Havana, Captain Harry Morgan said this to a man trying to intimidate Harry into smuggling him and two others into the U.S. in Ernest Hemingway's To Have and Have Not. Morgan wanted to show in a casual way that he wouldn't be bullied. He began the book by chartering the boat for wealthy clients out of Key West, and the story highlighted the disparity between his difficult life of poverty, the have-nots, and the affluence of those that hired him, the haves. As the depression deepens, his financial situation deteriorates and he turns to a life of smuggling. It leads to scenes like the one above, and then in the end, his eventual death. To have and to have not. It's the story of our world. It's the story of our economy. It's the story of our stock market. It was from reading Hemingway that I learned how to write. I owned every one of his books and read and dissected his work over and over again. Because he was a trained journalist first, the adventurous Hemingway had a writing formula. Subject, action verb, direct object. Something or something does something to someone or something else. That's it. He wrote strong, simple sentences that carried the action forward. And that's how we'll break down the action of the have and have-nots today. Bifurcate, to divide into two forks or branches. This is a story of two branches of the American people and American companies, those that have and those that have not. And now a word from our compliance department. Past performance is never a guarantee of future results. We offer a lot of services. Our tax planning and insurance strategies are designed to improve financial outcomes when implemented as recommended. We're confident in these strategies, but results will vary based on individual circumstances. Investment results cannot be guaranteed unless and otherwise indicated. No third-party individuals mentioned in this article are clients of our firm, nor have they been compensated for appearing. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. For personal advice about your situation, please call our office. Let's look at the interest rate action. The CME Fed Watch tool reveals that 87% of futures traders believe the Federal Reserve will cut rates by 0.25% in its December meeting. Over 80% believe that by June's meeting, the rate will be another 0.25% lower than that. So the Fed will likely be cutting rates twice or more according to that tool, and what should be a very bullish move for stocks into an environment of strong corporate earnings growth. The lesson is to own assets or be left behind. To have not. I don't know who made the laws, but I know there ain't no law that you got to go hungry, and that's from To Have and Have Not. We know that from the official data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that $1 in 2020 is equivalent to $1.25 now. So that's officially 25% inflation in 5 years. Not a sustainable track, even if the numbers are correct. We believe that the real rate is higher if things like housing and health insurance were measured correctly and not with a mind to paying out fewer benefits. Because of the cumulative effects of inflation, perhaps from challenges from the onset of AI in the workplace, the American public that does not own many assets, by and large, has lost much ground to those that do. We break the American public into two parts here as well, those that need to fund their spending with debt and those that don't. American consumers spent a mind-blowing $44.2 billion over the Cyber Week. That's Thanksgiving weekend plus Cyber Monday, which is up an astonishing 7.7% from 2024. That looks extremely healthy, and many of those shoppers spent within their means. There were, however, many that didn't. Adobe Analytics reported that buy now, pay later, the Klarna and the Firm options that you see on major retailer sites, their sales were projected to hit $20 billion in November plus December, which is 10% more than last year. And it does not include credit card swipes. It's estimated that 3 in 10 U.S. shoppers use buy now, pay later, so at least 30% of shoppers chose to fight inflation with financing and debt. And we know the figures fall worse if you lump in credit card purchases. We mentioned that home prices are bouncing again. This hurts affordability for those that have not. Young couples and many middle-aged couples are even struggling to afford the killer combo of elevated prices and higher mortgage costs. So, while it was great for the haves that home prices rose 2.4% year over year, it's that much more painful and difficult to get into a new home from rental status. That's not to mention the fact that as interest rates have come down, mortgage rates haven't exactly followed, and underwriting standards have tightened. The hurdle of home ownership climbs higher. Jobless claims hit 1.96 million on November the 15th, and that's the third highest since November of 2021. Americans perceive the job market to be worse over the last 3 years, and that's a precursor to problems generally. US ADP private payrolls caught most off guard this week as they fell by 32,000 jobs in November when the expectation was a gain of 10,000 jobs. So more have-nots are on the way. Youth employment is particularly concerning as 8.6% of recent college graduates are unemployed. Things got so bad that one young unemployed raccoon needed to blow off some steam and went full bender mode. The masked bandit went through a broken ceiling tile to break into a closed Virginia liquor store this week and scoured the bottom shelf where the scotch and the whiskey were stored and had a party of one. There was $250 worth of damaged bottles, and the trash panda's beverages of choice were rum, scotch, moonshine, peanut butter whiskey, and eggnog. My stomach is turning over just thinking about it. Later, he was found drunk and passed out by the bathroom toilet. At least he knew he needed water. American trash pandas are clearly living for today. We look at these signs as a diversion of the haves and have-nots. The increasing wedge effect that is happening is very telling. The stocks at the top, funded by those with the means, the haves are doing very well. How long they can continue to do so without the participation of the have-nots remains to be seen, but corporate earnings look good in technology and healthcare. The next generation's everything affordability problem is not so good. At some point, the bottom half of the country needs to come along for the ride, but those signs just aren't there yet. I keep speaking of signs. This book, To Have and Have Not, is special to me as it was a sign from above. I mentioned I was a Hemingway superfan. Before I proposed to my wife, I found in her family's upstairs bookshelf the only Hemingway book I had neither read nor owned, To Have and Have Not. The odds that the one Hemingway book that I lacked she had all along were quite low, probably less than 5%, as there was not one of his well-known books such as For Whom the Bell Tolls or The Old Man and the Sea. We'll continue to read the signs for you and try to interpret them to guide you in your meetings and in our phone calls. Deciphering corporate earnings or the effect of housing prices on Gen Z isn't exactly divining God's plan for us, but it is a step towards helping you better. If you need help turning these macroeconomic thoughts into a wealth shield for you and your family, then channel your inner Ernest Hemingway. Take action and call us. If you listen to us, we'll change your financial world.